Hello, guys. So it's becoming increasingly obvious to me. My mother and stepfather are sexual sadists who got off sexually from torturing and pharmacologically abusing and abuse. My mother and stepfather are sexual sadists who got off from torturing me. You know, my mother, without a doubt, is a monster behind her mask and a deceiver. I see through her facade now. I see she was torturing me, and my mother and stepfather were getting off sexually from my suffering. They were getting off from pharmacologically abusing me. I mean, it's just the reality. They were gaslighting me, victim blaming me, making me out to be delusional when I wasn't. It's just the fucking reality. Yeah, if somebody says just toggle the switch to off. But yeah, my mother and stepfather got off sexually for my pain and suffering, correct? They were pharmacologically abusing me. They were torturing me, correct? Can somebody be honest with me? So what triggered this? I haven't interacted with my mother in months, quite frankly. She's stonewalling me. She's not interacting with me at all. And we briefly tried to do some artwork. And she was doing like the Nazi salute and making it like she was getting chills when I was looking. And I was saying, all right, Mom, let's do this artwork. The mother and stepfather or the mother and father yell at Otto Greenberg. And in the second panel, Otto sees the mother and father like they're Satan. And in the third panel, Dr. Natural or says, you're having an emotional tsunami. Your parents aren't sadists who get off sexually from your pain and suffering. And in the fourth panel, I was like, oh, my parents are lovey-dovey and they're good, And my mother's like, no, I'm not doing that. And she was making it like she was getting chills and she was doing like the Nazi salute to me. This is not delusional. This is really what was going on here. She was getting off. Just whatever. Just whatever. She's two-faced. She's a monster behind her mask. She got off sexually from my pain and suffering. She was torturing me. My mother was getting off, and stepfather. They were getting off from torturing me. It's not a delusion. They were pharmacologically abusing me. They were trying to cause neurological damage. They were trying to cause cancer. They were just torturing me. They were getting off sexually from my pain and suffering. It's never been delusional. Somebody says, hypothetically speaking, the only way your mother can make an amends is by doing a 75-man bukkake. Well, let's lighten the mood. Somebody says, no, she didn't, Andrew. Your mother didn't get off sexually from your pain and suffering, I promise. Your parents have issues, I'm sure, but your parents did not want to hurt you. I think they hated me for the intergender wrestling 20 to 25 years ago, and they intended with premeditated intentions to torture me. That's just my theory, but I know Dr. Garrett said, when I feel the constraints of my life, I blame my parents by bringing charges of sexual perversity. I think they're sadists and fiends and monsters, but I really am suffering, but my parents have good intentions. They were not trying to give me cancer and cause neurological damage. They were not pharmacologically abusing me. I'm having an emotional tsunami. Toggle my switch to off. What makes me think this? I think my mother had nefarious intentions. I think her intentions were to torture me, and my stepfather, too, for that matter. So he says, listen to your doctor. If your doctor says your parents did not have nefarious intentions, well, listen to him. Somebody says, you really are suffering. You've been involuntarily celibate for years. You sit in solitude, posting on social media. But your mother and stepfather aren't getting off sexually from your pain and suffering. And from 2005 to 2011, they weren't trying to murder me while creating a facade. They were trying to help me. Somebody says, and truthfully, if they did abuse you, they're bad, no doubt. And as someone who went through abuse, I can understand why you've been hurt. But you need to draw a clear line about what happened. Yeah, and in fact, I kind of need a Dr. Garrett session for him to say, did your parents abuse you? Yes. Did they neglect you? Yes. But they probably weren't getting off sexually from my pain and suffering. Probably, unless, of course, they were. I feel like my mother and stepfather, and maybe even father, were getting off sexually from my pain and suffering, but apparently they weren't. I'll read to you the email. I mean, I'll read to you the sexual sadist email. I'm like, Dr. Garrett said, it's not a credible idea that your mother, father, and stepfather are sexually aroused by your suffering. One possibility here is that when you're feeling the constraints of your life, you blame your parents by bringing charges of sexual perversity. He said, instead of saying, I am so unhappy that I feel as though I am surrounded by people who enjoy my suffering, instead you experience your own suffering as though it were real. You really are suffering, but your parents are not sadists. Basically, I'm really sexually frustrated and unhappy about my life, but no one is getting sexual pleasure from my suffering. I'm just imagining that's in my parents' minds. Ace, he said that in 2018. Ace says, yes, your doctor is right. I really am suffering, but nobody is getting off sexually. Raisins says, nobody is getting off to your suffering. All these people you are accusing have gone above and beyond to try to help you. Hey, marijuana therapy. He said, hey, yo. How art thou, marijuana therapy? Hey, yo. Sigma Blaster says, I'll tell the truth. Ace says, I really do think it's important to listen to him. He thinks it's important that I kept that email. I think it shows it resonated with you, and you should remember it. Yeah, they say your parents are not getting off to your suffering, and nobody is for that matter. So try to toggle the emotional switch to off. But the real problematic thing is I'm so sexually frustrated, and I'm so angry at my parents and have hostile dependency. I can't even be around them. I'm ready to metaphorically tear my hair out, and I'm blaming them for being involuntarily celibate for my whole life. I feel like they've kept me in this chastity belt and got off from my suffering, and I'm ready to just fucking come unglued whenever I'm around my mother and stepfather. Somebody says it's not their fault. You really are suffering and your life turned out terribly, but it's not their fault. Somebody says it's okay to have that emotional switch on. It's okay to feel things, but it's delusions. You have to fight it because that's what makes your emotions volatile. Somebody says maybe go to groups and try to socialize with people and try to talk this out. Yeah, I can't be around my mother, father, and stepfather. I just am ready to come unglued anytime I'm around them. Somebody says autism. I've never been diagnosed as having autism, but it's certainly a theory. What makes you say I have autism? I definitely have delusional disorder and schizoaffective disorder. So I have nothing to do today, nothing to do tomorrow, and I don't have anything on the horizon. I just sit in solitary confinement day after day after day with no friends, interacting with nobody, going crazy. What is this? And somebody says, love is out there, Andrew, but get off social media and live life. You're sitting in solitude, pouring your life down the drain. Ace of Sarcasm said, Andrew, would you want to reach out to me later? I said before that you can reach out to me, and I really didn't mean that. Remember that. Yeah, I'm not going to be around my parents on Easter. They're not going to socialize with me, so I'm going to sit in solitude on Easter. I have no plans for Easter. My mother is just going to leave me in solitude all Easter long, basically, because I smashed the plate on Thanksgiving. She didn't interact with me on Christmas, and she's not going to interact with me on Easter. She's going to stonewall me. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't even know. Like, maybe if I'm around my mother and stepfather, I want to fight with them. So maybe it's a good thing we're not around each other. Maybe it's a good thing I'm spending Easter in solitary confinement because I can't even get along with them for like 5 minutes. Ace of Sarcasm said, you can talk to other people. He's free. Thanks, Ace of Sarcasm. If you want to chat now, Ace of Sarcasm, we could chat through Instagram. Do you want to? He'd be okay with that. All right. In 2 minutes, we'll go over to Instagram. Do you have Discord, Ace of Sarcasm? Do you want my Discord link? I'll share it with you. He actually prefers Discord. Okay, there you go. There's my Discord link. Did you get it? Did you add me? Ace of Sarcasm says he's joining my server now. Okay. I'll add you in a second. Okay, I added you. Okay, I'm going to send you a message now. Okay, cool. So I'll talk to you on Discord. I'll see you in a sec. Be right back. Sigma Blaster says, "Hey, add me too." Okay. What's your name, Sigma Blaster? I'll add you too. Okay.